it's rap-ish. I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list. Hope I ain't missing my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own. Tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers, and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues. Guess if you ain't at the table, you on the menu. And I'm that spitter, baby. They don't want you to see, but everybody's south of Capitol Hill's rocking with me. Boys smoke the trays and ponder getting their life together. I'm comfortable with my role, so I'm like, whatever. I ain't got a job, but I work hard. And you don't work hard, but you got a job. The irony is I'm judged while you feel the applause. I'm slept on, that's why I had to set this alarm. My dudes is armed, I'm armed with this arm charm. Body banging like she got that cream from Barry Bonds. Yeah.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
X-ray season is here, a real hitter with a mic, I'm everything that they fear. With that hood ain't the same, I was all on their ass, I'm level-headed. So yo, my dudes love when I spaz, and I'm so over Seattle's passive-aggressive attitude. They don't call you back, what they really saying is F you. While I'm from the same place, I move at a different pace. I prefer if you just said it to my face, damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Average dudes with they average spit, writing average rhymes, knocking average chicks. The closer I get, I can feel the people starting to shift. I'm loyal to a fault, and everybody can't come with. Rap's a rich man's game, I'm only playing with change. They bang models and singers, I'm knocking my own flame. I'm different. The crowd, I move with the chosen few. Black thoughts, I could be the front man for the roots. No diamonds and gold, I'm on my sticks and stones. If we can see your panty line, you should have on a thong. My team is strong, through this fire we forged a bond. And they already know what it is when I get on. To the hearse, party like it's December 31st. When I'm on my deathbed, I probably cracking my nurse. You ain't got the bars to compete. I'm a verbal athlete, deflating these boys so they say that I cheat. Damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Yeah. I should probably start by apologizing for the long wait, man. You know, I know I be tripping. But I'm not just a rapper, I'm an artist. And, you know, my creative process is a little bit different than most. Nonetheless, I want to welcome everybody out to the Dre's Experience. I got TCF in the building. My whole camp's here with me. I got the band in here laying this cool-ass vibe. And I'm Seattle's own. Let's get into it.
Welcome, everybody, to the Morning Update Show. Terrific Tuesday to all of you. Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, we got an amazing show for you today, but it doubles up in amazingness when we bring in my guy, Big O. What up, Big O? Host with the most.
All right, man. Good morning. Good morning, Trey Holiday. How are you?
Grand Rising. Hey, I'm well, man. You're looking real poppin' over there in parts unknown, my friend.
Hey, it's not a filter, family. All this is proper lighting. You feel me?
Hey, it works wonders, okay?
Yeah, ain't nothing like being in that studio, though.
Right. It's feeling good over here in Black Media Matter Studios. Really good family and good energy already to start the day off right.
Yeah, good stuff. We got a great show lined up for everybody today. I'm really excited in the building today. We got Moni, Education Director from over there at Creative Justice. So check in from Creative Justice, and my buddy, Soulma Ayers. Man, you know, Soulma does it all, but she's one of the lead artists on the Beloved campaign, Beloved King County Anti-Gun Violence Disruption Campaign. So looking forward, I know you'll have a great conversation with them.
Absolutely. You're talking about some amazing Black woman magic in the building. It's going to be set off up in here, for sure.
Hello. Good stuff. All right. Well, let me get right into it. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Update Show. I want to remind you that right now is the perfect time for you to tag and share the stream. Go ahead and tag and share this stream with people you feel would appreciate culturally relevant news and information emanating from right here in the Pacific Northwest. I want to give a big shout out to our partners over at the South Seattle Emerald, and also KBCS 91.3 over at Bellevue College. You can listen to the Morning Update show. And man, we did count it the other day. It's 13 altogether, different programs that we have here at Converge. They're all on our podcast platform. So SoundCloud, which you'll put in the comment and the links over there, as well as Google, Spotify, iTunes. All you have to do is search Converge Media Network. This is the time in the show, Trey Holiday, where you talk about Here For Us, .org or .org.
.org.
Go see. I'm glad you're there, man. You know we've got this. I'll put this up here right here, man. We had a Community Voices. We got a town hall next Tuesday at 5:00, or next Tuesday the 5th at 6:30. Look, I'm just too excited today. At 6:30, it's going to be hosted by Basa Gordon. And really a follow up. It's a lot of stuff still in our community. I know that a lot of restrictions are up, but as people are talking about, who already got vaccinated, should they get a booster shot, right? Or should they get vaccinated? They're like, restrictions are gone. Just lots of information. So we're getting a bunch of people together and to have a conversation about that.
Well, I'm so glad that, that we are doing that. I mean, our Community Voices has really been a phenomenal show that pulls together different perspectives. And there definitely are different perspectives when we talk about all things COVID-19. I mean, you are right. We saw a lot of regulations there kind of urging people to get vaccinated if they wanted to travel, get out of their house. I mean, it was a lot of restrictions all throughout King County. So it's going to be interesting to see how people's perspectives have shaped up after all these kind of regulations have loosened a little bit. We'll see what people got to say.
Yes, we will. All right. So this reminder right here. Let's see. I'm on this side, so I'm pressing over. So I'm sitting over there like, is he gonna press it or am I gonna press it? Is he gonna press it? That's the thing sitting on the computer. Let's see here. This is For Culture. Like I said, For Culture, they're in the bag, man. Project grants. So I'm gonna put the link there in the comments. You got to apply by April 20th. But as usual, Trey Holiday, For Culture, man, stepping up big for the culture.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we always talk about their intentionality. I mean, these grants are directed towards projects around arts preservation and heritage. And, they're so necessary. I mean, we have seen some of these kind of works in our community really uplift history, legacy, culture. So I'm just excited that For Culture saw a need to be really specific about these project grants. And if you guys know of anybody or you yourself are looking to do some projects in those areas, please hit up For Culture by the 20th of April.
Yeah, man. Take advantage of it. You know what I'm saying? People they keep coming with these grants, man. Keep filling out the applications. Next up, Seattle colleges. We got some real good feedback on this. They said that a lot of people are hitting the link, so I'm going to put that link there. This is, man, scholarships up to $4,000 for if you're planning on attending Seattle colleges, North, Central, or South in the fall. This is a great scholarship right there. And these are funds that, they go just beyond books. You can also pay your rent, buy food, some top ramen, all that good stuff right there. But man, Seattle colleges, it's a great place. My mama went to Seattle College. My mama went to Seattle Central, and my brother Toon went to Seattle Central. So, you know what I'm saying? It's a solid spot. They got a lot going on over there, and also an opportunity for these scholarships.
Absolutely. And I got to say, Proof in the play is in the building. Me and Proof went to Seattle Central at the same time. That's where we met now over 20 years ago. So the truth of the matter is that there's a lot of great folks that are coming out of these Seattle colleges. And I love that, this fund right here allows them to buy top ramen. But I'm going to tell y'all, elevate your top ramen. Throw an egg in there. You know what I'm saying? I saw somebody do a peanut sauce and dip their top ramen. I'm just saying, you can look up some ramen recipes and do some really cool stuff with ramen that wasn't happening back in our day.
Yeah. These guys, they probably gonna do the meal delivery service. You know what I'm saying? They ain't have all that back when we was in school.
Right.
But yeah, big shout out Seattle College Foundation. This is something right here. This is from the Seattle Times this morning. And man, this is a great article. And we'll put the link here in the comments. It says new maps show strong correlation between red line places in Seattle and worse air quality. And let me give 1 second. Let me give this guy a shout out. This is by Nicholas Turner over there at the Seattle Times. It says here, new research published earlier this month links redlining with disproportionate levels of air pollution. underscoring years of efforts in Georgetown, South Park, and other communities segregated by racial discriminatory housing practices to untangle historic disparities exacerbated by warming temperatures and harmful emissions. Man, really good article, but it's like, I mean, it's something that people in our community have been talking about for a long time, especially in those neighborhoods in the parts of South Seattle in general. They suffering from poor air quality, which then leads to health conditions. And somewhere in this article, it said that Black people and Hispanic people nationally live in areas of poor air quality, even despite income level.
Yeah, this is something that I think has been really taken front and center, literally with a group front and center that has been looking at a lot of this data across the country, and particularly here. It showcases this very, very strongly. I'm so glad that there's an article now that's out that really highlights a lot of this data and research that organizations and individuals have been doing for many decades. When we talk about the reason for white flight, and really, a lot of white families moving into the suburbs across the nation, we see that there is a direct correlation between, air quality. When we talk about where they said they were going to design freeways going through a lot of urban areas and neighborhoods across the country, this is something that is alive and well. I just love that there's an article now really spotlighting this, because sometimes people are not reading those journals, when they scientific journals and academic journals, when people are publishing their works around this kind of data. So I love that now it's in the mainstream media. Man, shout out to the author, because it's necessary for all of us to understand this correlation is real. And when we talked about COVID and the impacts of where people live and why they were saying Black people were more affected in terms of deaths and COVID cases, we had an understanding of this direct correlation here. So I just love that the Seattle Times is highlighting this. It's definitely real and felt in our community.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I mean, the thing is, remember when we had Hamdi Muhammad, and that was one of the big things that Hamdi was talking about was environmental justice. People don't realize, man, that it's real. And there's so many things that are linked. So a lot of these maps, so the article talks about how they're taking these maps and you can see, this correlation between redlining and air pollution. But we're still poor people and people of color and poor people are still suffering from racist maps that were drawn, almost 100 years ago, and not only here in Seattle, but across the country. And then we wonder why when we talk about COVID and things like that, and we talk about how Black people and Hispanics highest it was disproportionate the amount of people impacted who died of COVID because of existing health conditions and everything else. And so it's important when you think about things like it's a Superfund site. The Wamish River is a Superfund. It's so polluted.
Yeah.
When you think about these neighborhoods of where heavy industry and pollution are at, man, you don't think of affluent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's good that it's something that's been going on and this conversation's been happening. And like I said, it's a good article right there. These maps, I think that we're probably going to dive a little bit deeper into it because those are communities that are often overlooked, Georgetown, South Park, and other areas.
Yeah, absolutely. Even when we had Jebediah Gardner on, and he was talking about a site up in Skyway that's been polluted for so many years, and the work that his team is doing to try to redevelop. And there's a lot that has to be done there environmentally. And so you're absolutely right. Oh, a lot of this data and this information does get overlooked because again, we're talking about areas that are primarily housed by Black families, Latino families, and I don't think it would be the same if these things were in Mercer Island. That's just the truth.
Yeah. Let's see here. This is so Will Smith. Will Smith issued an apology yesterday on the gram, of course. Got this up here. Let me read this to everybody. Violence in all of its forms is poisonous and destructive. My behavior at last night's Academy Awards was unacceptable and inexcusable. Jokes at my expense are part of the job. but a joke about Jada's medical condition was too much for me to bear, and I reacted emotionally. I would like to publicly apologize to you, Chris. I was out of line, I was wrong, and I'm embarrassed by my actions. Were not indicative of the man I want to be. There's no place for violence in a world of love and kindness. I'd also like to apologize to the Academy, the producers of the show, all the attendees, and everyone watching around the world. I'd like to apologize to the Williams family and my King Richard family. I deeply regret that my behavior has stained what was otherwise a gorgeous journey for all of us. I am a work in progress. Sincerely, Will.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that we knew wasn't going to end with what we saw there that night at the Oscars, and it is, hopefully it's really heartfelt. I mean, it seems like it, but I also, I think that I really enjoy this part, not just to Chris, but to the Williams family
Yeah.
and to those who really poured their talent into this film. And we talked about that, like, look, he did a great job in the role on the film, and I wanted that merit to be acknowledged. Obviously it was by him winning the award. However, this did taint it. Oh,
Come on, man. So this was the Will Packer. It was I think the executive producer. This was the all black produced Oscars. You know what I'm saying? And then this guy finally wins the award. Everybody knew that, like, most likely he was hands on to win it. And it's like it's crazy right now. Chris Rock tickets are skyrocketing, right? Like
yeah.
all of his tour tickets are through the roof. You know what I'm saying? And like Will Smith is going to walk up. This is just, I mean, it's just what it is in America. When you're rich and powerful, he's just going to walk away from this. Like his career is going to go on. Look how many people get in a fight in high school or something, and they get expelled. They can't go to their graduation. They can't go to whatever. It is what it is in our country and how it is. And I mean, they were saying that Chris Rock had also made an apology, but they said that was fake. I don't know. I'm not. We need to call Basa. She's a better internet sleuth than me on what's going on. But the Oscars are launching an investigation, so you know what I'm saying. We'll see what happens with that. But yeah, I mean, an apology was definitely coming from his end. But I mean, man, and everybody forgot about Questlove. Questlove won an Oscar for his documentary. Everybody really forgets about, this is Richard, Williams, who the story was about for the Oscar that Will Smith won. Man, black women be the butt of the joke. You know what I'm saying? And so the ramifications. Susan Peck yesterday, I think that was who said it. Said that, like, man, the context of this joke goes beyond stand-up comedy. What's the ramifications for black women? You know what I'm saying? And everything. I don't know. It's a lot of different layers and levels to this story. Just playing out in front of us.
Yeah, it's definitely convoluted, though. I mean, for a number of reasons. And I think the first one really is that Jada, is dealing with alopecia. And I think that Chris has a responsibility to a certain degree to say, you know what? Hey, maybe that was oversight on my part, or I didn't realize that. I mean, it's hard to say that he didn't win. They're all public figures, and a lot of the time this stuff is out there in the public for public consumption. But ultimately, for him to think that, oh, hey, that was, and then he said it, hey, that was a good one, because he could see that it wasn't good on the face of Jada, Pinkett Smith. She was not really feeling the joke. And, Will Smith did originally laugh at it and try to take it in like, okay, here this guy is. I think he's right about it kind of being a part of the job. But I also think that there's a responsibility on Chris's end to really have more taste with the jokes that he does put out there. And ultimately it would be different. And this is the truth, in my opinion, even if she did that because it was a fashion statement, just because she wanted to, maybe that joke would go over a little bit better. But the fact that she's dealing with alopecia, it makes it really touchy.
I think that also this is an indication of how far we've fallen in Hollywood. It's the more that we've gained, the more of our moral fiber that we lose. And I say that because, when you look back and you think about people like Sidney Poitier, who turned down all the roles to play the coon and to play the fool, and you know what I'm saying, to degrade black people for a check and everything else. Like, I mean, a generation ago, I don't think that you could pay our stars, our lead stars, enough money to go on international TV and degrade a black woman, especially about her hair. So, it's
Yeah.
like, it's really weird. The further that we climb higher in Hollywood, it seems like the lower some of our moral fiber goes. That, like, you joke, no joke. It's like, why, with the whole world watching, would you make a black woman, especially about her hair, the butt of any joke, no matter who it was, whether it was Jada or anybody else? But that's how comfortable that we feel in Hollywood, that we would think that that's okay. But that's what I'm saying. It's a disconnect. These guys is balling. They rich. They disconnected from the street level. They're disconnected from the things that impact everyday black people. And we see that disconnect played out right there in Hollywood.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's such a great point. And we also talk about it too in terms of the underbelly of Hollywood, what people have to do to get to that level, right? And so people have been like, oh, was that joke pre-written? Was that off the cuff? Was it in the prompter? Who came up with that joke? There's a lot of layers, as you say, to this. And also too, it's like, Chris, you have the opportunity to do some edits if they're writing jokes for you, or a team is kind of writing this for you, and that Will and Jade are going to be sitting right there. So you have this kind of direct, access to them in terms of eye contact and everything else. But there's a lot that goes into this, and there's a lot that folks have done. And shout out to, our some of our greats like Sidney Poitier, who just refused to be that actor, to take on certain roles. We know there are plenty of actors who have, and that is just the truth. And we see that, for some of those, their career has risen to a certain level because they were willing to do this. So you're absolutely right. Oh, a lot of layers indeed.
Yeah, I'm good, man. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no cooling around here. You feel
None of
me?
that.
I mean, like, you know. Hey, but on a positive, so I will say this though, and I can't wait. So tomorrow you got Mike Davis in, and then there's Clapback on Thursday. There's the Factors on Thursday, and then there's a rewind with Basin on Friday. So you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying. I know that the crew will be following up and discussing this a bit more. Before I let you go, I let myself go. Let's see here. Got one more. This in this, I'm gonna put the link in the comments. I wanted to leave you with some good news here on the updates. Good Food Kitchens program grows from the Central District to help feed King County. This is from our buddies over there at Capitol Hill Seattle blog, from Justin Carter. And you might remember during the pandemic, the whole Good Food Kitchens program popped off there in the CD. Then that was Communion, Brown Girls Cooks, Musang, Feed the People, and Gorilla Pizza Kitchen. And so it was just four. And now there's 30 restaurants. And this consortium here, these guys just served their 13,000th meal last month, and they have a goal to serve 40,000 more. And basically, like I said, something that started in the neighborhood is branching out across King County. Something that started with 4 restaurants now has 30 restaurants. And we've seen this in action. You've seen these guys roll up, different places like the senior center to bring meals. And the thing is, it's not just meals. We found out during COVID that, like, yeah, people need food, but it goes over better when it's like culturally relevant and nutritional value and all those kind of things. And it's just great to see this program blossoming and prospering.
Absolutely. It really is. And, shout out to everybody who's been involved. I think what we really saw during the pandemic was so much compassion for those who were in need. And, I would be remiss to not even mention Def Chef, because I saw him personally pulling up and feeding not just our crew, but many a different folks, many a different crews out here, and a lot of the young folks delivering, lunches to people's homes. This is something that I love about the resilience of community. When we come together like that, and when we all are pitching in and doing our part, we do what we can. And I remember Chef Tarek saying, look, that's what this is about for me. You know what I mean? He was out of Coyote Central. I stopped by there. I'm like, hey, he's like, look, this is what this is about for me. You're going to get a high quality culinary feast, right? For free. And they weren't doing it in like, oh, what you're going to get is a bunch of like kind of low end food. So you're right about culturally responsive foods, but also meeting people's dietary needs. I mean, there was a lot of vegan options out there for folks that are vegan. There was vegetarian options. There was things that were gluten free. So we just saw a wide variety of ways that they were really supporting community. And it's so beautiful to see this program grow.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, the links there in the comments, man, check that out. And it's great that it's in one. Hold on, so let me stop right there. Deaf Chef, definitely. Deaf Chef, the whole story that day. Deaf Chef they launched his program. It wasn't even he was like, man, I gotta feed people. But I walked up there yesterday and I saw what he was doing, and then the very next day we launched the morning update show because it was about like, well, man, not everybody's a scientist or this and that or working on a COVID cure, but everybody can do what they can do in their capacity. And we saw Deaf Chef doing this thing. And the next day, we launched the morning update show, and the Deaf Chef was the very first guest on the morning update show. So big shout out to him right there. So Mom, I'm gonna press this one, and then I'm gonna leave it to you, my friend. Next up, we've got Moni for Education Director at Creative Justice. She's going to be joining Trey Holiday. I'm going to be back here in the green room, Trey, and so I'll catch you at the end of the show for an uplift there. But until then, we're going to go to break. The Morning Update show continues.
Hey there, it's Trey Holiday. And of course, Besa and I had to take a trip back to Market Street Shoes to grab some items. They always know what to show us. And let me tell you, we both spent quality time to be sure we collected some amazing additions to our wardrobes. They have some of the most unique bags, shoes, and accessories. I mean, the whole shebang. It's always a good time when I get to shop with my girl Besa. Make sure you go check out Market Street Shoes, y'all, and you too can walk out with some dope gear.
When the pandemic hit, it did affect me. As a barber, I had my own personal reasons why I didn't get vaccinated. At the time, I didn't check the actual source. I thought the vaccine was developed too fast, but I was talking to a doctor and he was telling me more about the vaccine and what it can do to protect us and our family. I wanted to get back to that once was, right? I do feel safe knowing that I am vaccinated. I just hope what I'm saying is reaching into people's heads to know that this is the best decision for all of us.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Morning Update show. Love that new break there. Shout out to the team for putting it together. You know what? I get to sit down with Moni Tep right now. I'm so excited. What's up, Moni? Hey, thank you so much for joining me.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Well, you do a lot. You do a lot. So I literally didn't even know you worked at Creative Justice until we were like, oh, we're about to spotlight Moni. Tell us a little bit about your background and, what got you to Creative Justice.
Yeah. So my background is, born and raised in Seattle. I'm a musician. That's my personal practice. I'm a DJ. I have a DJ collective and I'm a singer and have been doing that for a very long time. The other part of my life has been arts programming for young people. And so what cultivated me into Creative Justice essentially was like my curatorial work around the city, being involved with different like youth-led organizations and supporting their arts programming. And so when Creative Justice reached out to me and said, hey, we're expanding and we're about to pivot into some different things and we think that you would be perfect in this position, I hopped on it.
Well, you know what? I just gotta say, knowing a bit of you and your reach and community, man, shout out to you, Moni, because you
Thank
have
you.
you've been doing it for a long time, and I never really got the chance to just publicly give you your flowers.
Oh,
But let me tell you, you are killing the game, and your DJ skills are top notch. Okay, for
thank
those of
you.
you who don't know about Moni's DJing, let me tell you. Moni's putting it down.
I
So,
appreciate
so
you.
how are you able to kind of infuse all the things that you've done into your role at Creative Justice? Tell us about what it is you do there and how you bring that history to the
Yeah,
world.
absolutely. So, I always tell people that my life's practice is my work. There is probably no separation there, right? So, even if I wasn't in the institutions that I have been involved in, I would still be doing my life's work, which is essentially creating healing, engaged art spaces for young people so that they can imagine and cultivate whatever dreams that they have for themselves, right? And to be thinking about what systemically impacts them and inhibits them from being able to imagine and dream, right? So I'm just trying to create space to do that. And that's essentially what I get to do at Creative Justice as education director. Most specifically, I dream up the base program, which looks like programming 2 times a week with up to 20, 24 young people between the ages of about 14 to 22. And they get to come into our doors and they get to eat and they get to make healing engaged art with different mentor artists. And so I have a staff of really incredible artists from around the city who help cultivate art skills with young people. Mm-hmm.
This is just beautiful because when we talk about, I know Nikita has said it so many times, treating the whole person. We've been saying it in community all the time. Like if we could just have the resources to do the work, we would be able to see a decrease in gun violence, a decrease in young folks going into institutions of prison systems, whatever, jail, juvenile detention, whatever it is, we would actually see a decrease. But that's the work of Creative Justice. And I think one of the things that I love so much is that it's so steeply rooted in community that you guys have this network of artists you can call on to really allow the youth to create, to do what they do. And it's healing, it's therapy. Tell us about some of the impacts that you've been able to experience as educational director while doing this work.
Yeah, the impacts. That's so funny. I was answering this question the other week. I think probably for my therapist, honestly, right? We were talking about like it's really hard to measure success in our work, especially when you're doing work with young people where you are actually cultivating spaces for them to just exist in, right? There's no marker that says, oh, this person is a successful person or they're not, or this program is successful. It's like, how do I keep you alive? And how do I keep you alive? Or how do I contribute to keeping you alive between Tuesday and Thursday? And what does that mean for you to be able to go home to your families? What does that mean for us to be able to provide an actual monetary stipend for you to be able to show up and do work and do art and be in a space that feels like when the world is not safe for you, that you can come in here and be fed and be loved on, right? So when we talk about holistic healing and we talk about holistic art engagement, I think that Creative Justice is consistently, and we are always recreating because we're always learning from our young people, like how do we create infrastructure so that we're thinking about things systemically, so that we're not only addressing violence or safety or security after things have already been done, but how do we create an infrastructure to where young people can dream and believe and be in space so that they can go into the world and create whatever world that they want.
Yeah, I really appreciate that because I think so much of the programs that maybe they failed us. I'm still, it's the jury's still out on that because we talk about a lot of institutions originally going after programming funding. Like we need more programs, we need more programs, but they came with those exact things that you discussed that are not there, like these markers. This is what success looks like. You got to have this many people in the program. You got to have this many people go through the program and end on the other side and give them a certificate. Like all of these ideas about, you know what I'm saying, that are really limiting limiting and create a little bit more barriers. So we need more open-ended ways of connecting with youth and young people. And I think that I really am inspired by the way that creative justice has centered the voices of young people, just as you talk about learning from them when you're thinking about these systems that you want to put in place, and about institutionally how you guys are going to do business. You know, allowing their voices to be a part of that is so key. I think that's really probably a bit of the magic. But you also talk about this kind of like family that is created there. How is it for the young folks to be connecting with other young people like themselves, coming on a weekly basis, you know, 2 times a week, to really connect with each other? Because I think that that's also a part of that healing that's necessary.
Yeah, I think well, a lot of the youth that we partner with are systems involved, court involved, young people who oftentimes when they're going through those systems, they can be really isolating. And you can feel, and as a young person, like I often felt at many times like nobody's going through exactly what I'm going through. And then you get into a room with a bunch of different people who look exactly like you or have similar shared lived experiences as you, and you're like, oh, we going through the same thing. So like, how do we collectively, it's just about like really tapping in with young people so that they understand that there can be a collective understanding about something, right? And even my liberation feels really personal to me, but I also think about what impacts I have collectively and how do I contribute to this collective narrative. And so I think that we are oftentimes able to create this space where young people are able to recognize themselves as not like solitary human beings, but like, how are we all a part of this thing? And I think the thing that's really special about creative justice, like you said, like, you know, I'm from Seattle, so I done been through these programs. I have led these programs. I have, you know, answered to those grants that are, these are the markers of success and things. And I think that's what's different about creative justice and why I love it is that we are really focused on liberation. And my liberation might not be your liberation. And so what does it mean to define that for ourselves? And what does it mean to find that personal liberation and that personal freedom? And how do you let that rub off onto your community, onto your loved ones, onto your family when life doesn't feel like that?
I love that. Liberation. You know, because for me, it's a cascading effect. Because it is no matter how many years we've worked toward liberation, the idea that it's objective, it means something different to me than it does to you. That cascading ideology needs to be implemented in our society, because unfortunately, one of the things that I also feel was kind of like stagnant in terms of some of the movements of the past. You know, I always think about the impact the Black Panthers had, but it was just because they were injecting new ideology into society at large. Like, hey, what would happen if you just allow Black folks to do what they do and lead in their communities, right? And the ideas about, you know, liberating these communities that have oftentimes been, you know, subjugated, they've been oppressed, they've been all of these things. We know that because it's been societally bound, right? Well, what if we just break those chains of it? And the ideas that you're talking about, this being objective to every person, is really key to this, because that's the stuff that I love, because it's like new ideology. Let it cascade down into the general pool of society so people can begin to understand that, because I think that's something that's really misunderstood right now, Moni. And I love that young people are able to recognize it for themselves, because we're talking about our leaders now, our leaders in the future. We're talking about creating that generation that understands it. What are, for you, you know, when you go home at night, you know what I mean, and you're reflecting on your day, what are some of the main things that really pop out to you in terms of how this work is positively impacting your life?
So when I go home every day, I have a 12-year-old. So that's what my life looks like. I mean, that's what my life looks like throughout my day, is thinking about where my 12-year-old is and what he's doing. And so I'm often in this place of just immense gratitude, right? Like I became a mom super young. I am very young, I feel like, to be in the position that I am, professionally and even in community, like where I am in community. And so I feel like I'm in immense gratitude all of the time, and giving praise and giving that up, and being at my altar and working things out, because when people talk about I didn't think that I was gonna be here, like that was real life for me, right? And so imagining my life past 18 or imagining my life past 22 didn't feel realistic for me as a really young person. And so I give thanks. The other thing that I think about is, how do I sustain myself? Because this work that we're doing is not like, it's not backbreaking in the way of like physical labor, but it is work that can be defeating, and it is work that can be really hard. And I think that you have to have a personal practice of being able to create boundaries for yourself that feel like you're taking care of yourself, that feel like you're safe within yourself, right? And so I'm constantly thinking about, how do I sustain myself in my practice so that I can show up for this work full, and that I don't feel like my cup is being depleted, and that I don't feel like people are reaching into my cup. And that is exactly what I try to impart into my young people, is like, you deserve to have a full life in which you feel full, to where when you pour out of your cup, it's by choice. It is never by circumstance, and it shouldn't be, because we should be developing practices with you so that you can sustain yourself.
Snaps all around. Moni, this is just a great conversation. I know you and I could have a whole special on this. I would love to go further, because Creative Justice is doing amazing work. And I think because it is such a unique approach, oftentimes the ways that I've heard now you speak about it, Nikita speak about it in the past, is that it takes something for people to get, like, they're trying to grasp it still. Like, wow, this is, so dope how you're doing this and how you're disrupting the system with creativity as a marker and as a pathway. So, I know there's people out there in the audience that want to know more and want to connect with Creative Justice. Look right there and let them know how they can do so and how they can connect with you.
So what's really interesting is that this Thursday we do have a culminating project event. So base program, we work for about 12 to 16 week sessions. Our young people create these beautiful works of art, whether it's music, whether it's visual art, soon comes some theater stuff, right? So on Thursday at the Link on about 20th and, was it 20th and Union at the Link, we'll be having our Say Something or Something to Say show, where our young people are exploring the question of, if you were able to send a message to the world, what would that be? So we have different works of art. Our young people have been working with clay this past session in our visual arts, also printing supplies. And then we'll have some live performances at 6 o'clock. Slide through. We in the Central. It's going to be food. It's going to be like drinks, and it's going to be cute. And all of our young people are going to be there. We're partnering with beloved King County to really answer some important questions around, what does safety mean for young people? What does safety mean for communities? So you'll see a lot of those themes throughout the space, and also have opportunity to talk with young people about exactly what that means.
So there we go. Collaborations all around. Moni, thank you so much for being here. I look forward to the event on Thursday. I'm going to move some things in my calendar so I can be there 6 p.m. at the Link. Moni, thank you again for being with us. If people want to just tap in with you, what you got going on, how do they follow you?
Yeah, so what I would say is, tap into creativejusticenorthwest.org. If you want to reach me about anything that has to do with programming, my email's right there. Tap into the staff page. I'm all over the internet. Catch me where you can. I'm always in the CD to the South End, so just catch me.
There we go. Pull up. I love that mentality. Moni, thank you so much for being with me today. And thank you, really incredibly huge thanks for all the work you're doing for our young people. It's so necessary. I just really appreciate you bringing your lived experience to bear in this way. It's just a beautiful thing to witness.
I so appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness, you guys. There's a lot of Black woman magic. I told you it was coming up. And up next, we got Soulma Ayers in the building. My sis, another amazing artist doing amazing work. Can't wait to talk to her about all things the Beloved campaign. Stay tuned after this short break. You're watching the Morning Update Show. Hey there, it's Trey Holiday. And of course, Besa and I had to take a trip back to Market Street Shoes to grab some items. They always know what to show us. And let me tell you, we both spent quality time to be sure we collected some amazing additions to our wardrobes. They have some of the most unique bags, shoes, and accessories. I mean, the whole shebang. It's always a good time when I get to shop with my girl Besa. Make sure you go check out Market Street Shoes, y'all, and you too can walk out with some dope gear. Oh, right now. Okay, there we go. Live TV, y'all. Welcome back to the Morning Update Show. I'm your co-host, Trey Holiday. And joining me right now is my girl, Soulma. What's up, Soulma?
Hey, beautiful. How are you?
You are looking fantastic today.
Oh, listen, I am representing all Black Things Seattle. Soul Chains, Wolf Deluxe pants, Boss Life hat.
I love it. And I need to learn about soul chains because those are really dope. So yeah, we'll be talking after the show.
For sure.
But you know, I'm really loving that today we really get to spotlight two beautiful artists. First, Moni, now you've been doing work everywhere and for a very long time. Let the folks know. I know you're here about Beloved campaign, but you were doing so many things before that. Just tell us a little bit about your history in the art world right here in Seattle.
I'm actually an art baby. So my mom was a part of the original Black Arts West, and I grew up watching amazing Northwest artists create things in the image of myself. And so being able to work within the arts in Seattle, with my work with Wanawari, with my work with Beloved campaign, it's been able to kind of fuse all the things that I love and then also give representation to some of the people that really inspire me and influence my day to day.
You know what? I gotta say, every time I see you, you know, I'm like, oh no, you could tell she's an artist. You know what I mean? Because we talk about our bodies as a canvas, right? And there's always something that we can be saying in terms of the message we're putting out there to the world. And you're just always doing that. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, I got some of her glasses, y'all. She's on point with it. Okay, so you know, I'm always here representing. But you know, this Beloved campaign is really bringing together a lot of amazing Northwest artists, like you said, and infusing this messaging in art. Tell us a little bit about how you've been impacting this Beloved campaign.
So I was really lucky. They came to me early in the game and they allowed me to kind of add my input as an artist and what I wanted to see for the vision of telling the story of gun violence and the history and what are the remedies and how does that look from an artist's perspective. So I was doing these collage pieces, which is kind of my new thing, and sculptures and all that fun stuff. And they asked me if I was willing to contribute and create some pieces around these ideas that are set forth in the campaign. And I ran to the idea. And we had an art show during the Capitol Hill Art Walk, which was absolutely phenomenal. 1,407 roses, if I'm not mistaken, were hung from the ceiling, representing each gunshot that was fired in King County since pandemic. And so to see that visual and to be able to have this all come together as a Northwest artist, it was like, this is the story that I want to continue creating.
Yeah, and it's also really so impactful for community. And I mean people in and out of Black community, right? Because I've been hearing so much about how that Roses show was impactful to so many people who got to see it. I mean, it's really taking something that we think is really dark when we talk about gun violence and we talk about, you know, how we disrupted and bullets in and of themselves, just like something that like represents, you know, man, where did that bullet end up? You know, is what a lot of people think. But to celebrate it with roses, to showcase it with something that's so beautiful that people understand and beauty resonates with roses and love resonates with roses, right? So like that, yeah. So that right there is this a direct correlation to people's brain centers to be like, man, you know, wow, what an amazing art show in general. I'm grateful that we were able to be there as Converge, because seeing the footage, I was just like, oh man, Beloved is hitting the ground hard. What are some of the things you're really excited about as the campaign continues? Because there's so many things that are happening with the campaign.
Man, I'm excited about this artist call that we're doing. So we are asking for submissions. We are going to be showing 10 to 25 artists, because you always got to add that extra 5 just in case you can't choose. So we're showcasing 20 to 25 artists from the Seattle area, in terms of what their thoughts are and how they're impacted by gun violence or the change that they want to become. And so we're asking people to do submissions by April 15th. Tag at Beloved King County. And we're looking for video, photography, art. It could be fashion. It could be a one-person play if that's what we're trying to do. And so we really want to be able to showcase what the community artists are thinking and feeling.
You know what? I mean, I'm just so inspired by this as a young theater kid myself, right? And growing up here and being involved in Black art in that regard. There was just nothing like this that was so collaborative. I really get the pleasure every Friday of talking with our art queen, T Dub, right? And we talk about her show, Art of the Matter, but we also just really talk about what's going on in community. And I'm so impressed with how many artists we have from our community that are doing great works, murals. They got, exhibits out. They're showing their stuff. The idea that Beloved is saying, look, bring all that to this campaign and think about it in terms of how you're experiencing gun violence. Because just as Moni said with liberation, the way that you're impacted in your perspective on gun violence is very, very much a specific thing to you. It's personal. Right. And whether you had family members, friends, neighbors, loved ones that have been impacted by it, there's some way that it's affecting all of us. And so for you, when you think about gun violence, what are some of the things that really resonate to you in terms of how you knew you had to be a part of this campaign?
So my mom was the director of Evergreen State College, Tacoma campus for a while. So I would spend weekends in Seattle with my aunt and doing activities in Seattle, but I would be in Tacoma during the weekdays. And I grew up in a really interesting time of Tacoma where the Hilltop was one of the most violent places that you could possibly be. I was going to funerals every weekend. And to have that experience in junior high and early high school is very kind of it shapes the way that you walk throughout the world. And so I was fortunate to have an outlet as a young child to say, like, this is how I'm feeling emotionally. And so to be able to give this to other artists and to other youth, and because there's no age limit on the submissions, you can be 6 and affected. And it's a horrible thing to say, but you can really be 6 years old and affected by gun violence. And so how do we turn that image into something that takes that negative from your heart and puts beauty on a page or on a stage? And so that's where my involvement kind of comes in, and my excitement for being involved in this project.
I feel it all around. I feel it all around because, you're talking about, man, the Hilltop was no joke.
Right.
And honestly, that was something, one of my best friends, she moved from Seattle, moved to the Hilltop of Tacoma, and literally was at a house party and got shot twice. Right. And she survived. But it was one of those things where I'm like, that's what made it real to me. Again, one of my closest friends in middle school, right? And I'm just like, whoa, what? Like, that's when it really hits home, when you're able to be like, damn, this is people I know and love. So I just love that you're bringing all of your lived experience into this, man. Shout out to you and everything you're doing, and thank you for coming on Converge, because I know it's like someone's like, look, I don't do interviews. We appreciate you.
Nobody ever gets me on air. Like, I see a camera coming, I'm like, all right, I got something to do. I'm gonna dodge. But you and Amari are the only ones that, if you ask, I will oblige. And so I just want to thank you for being amazing and asking all the important questions, right? Because you bring something out of people in the community that allows them to get comfortable in their experience because we're comfortable with you. So thank you, boo.
I love you.
I love you back.
I love you, sis.
I mean, I was hoping to get engaged on this. I'm single, but I was hoping to get engaged on this show because I mean that's what you be out here doing. Cats get engaged when they.
I love it. I love it so much. Right there, let folks know how they can get in contact with you and how they can make sure that they are up on these submissions for Beloved.
Okay, so you want to immediately go to your Instagram. You want to add at Beloved King County. That's the first thing that you're going to do. For the submissions, we are asking them to be in by April 15th. And that would be tagging, again, Beloved King County, hashtag Beloved King County, hashtag Beloved, hashtag Beloved Seattle. Just, you know what I'm saying? Hashtag your mama and them, all the hashtags. And in terms of getting in contact with me, I'm actually pretty easy to find. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I am at Wanawari Art Gallery in the Central District. If people have not been there, they should stop by, come sit on the porch, have a conversation. I love talking to people, especially about Black art, Black things. I'm not talking about Will Smith no more this week, though.
Okay.
But other than that, you know what I'm saying? We're good.
There we go. Soulma, thank you so much for bringing your talent to Beloved and right here, all of your energy and beautifulness right here to the Black Media Matter Studios. Thank you,
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. I'm telling you guys, we told you they were going to be on fire today, and they sure were. After this short break, I get to close the show with my guy, Big O. Stay tuned, and you are watching the Morning Update Show.
In the depths of Belize, the travelers come across the waters, harvesting with their hands, learning of resilience rooted deep in the lands, culture thriving like a fire ablaze, sizzling with a pop and a chop, sharing its ways. Knowledge simmers and grinds into the hearts and minds, cutting away from the surface stories and colonial lies, boiling it down, breaking its shell as the truth pours out and gets plated collectively with love, spooned into bowls, feeding the soul. Garifuna, alive and strong at Palmetto Grove.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Morning Update Show. I'm your co-host, Trey Holiday. And boy, oh boy, what an amazing show we've had. Right, Big O?
Yeah, man. I mean, I've enjoyed myself sitting back here in the green room and watching these interviews. And wow, I like for creative justice, like I know like what creative justice does, but like to hear Moni break it down and break it down through her experience is dope. And then of course with Beloved, this issue, this disease, as Donita would say, of gun violence and disrupting it is something near and dear to us here at Converge. And so, man, 2 outstanding interviews, Trey.
Yeah, thank you so much. An amazing, amazing guest today. This is why I love the Morning Update Show and what we do here, because it really uplifts the work happening in our community. And there's some amazing organizations and individuals behind those orgs and individuals outside of orgs that really are doing the work. So, I'm just grateful. Black beauty all around. Oh.
That's it. Good stuff. That's real. There's a bunch of big dogs watching today too. I was checking it out. I was like, "Ooh, okay." A few things before we get out of here. First of all, reminder: next Monday at 6 p.m. Art of the Matter, episode 6. Caleb Bailey. There's T Dub. Man, They look like they're having a good time. Art of the Matter it's been going well. Episode 6. We want to make sure and support that. And let me get my scroll on it. I see this is what someone has to do every day. It's a lot. Community Voices. You guys have been seeing the spots there. That's 1 week from today at 6:30. It's going to be hosted by Basa Gordon. We got a lot of people across field from community to educational to medical to some everything else. They're going to be involved on that. And then let me see here. What else do we got going on? I'll let you take it from here, Salman. Oh, there it is. Okay, I got you. No, I got it. All right. Here we go. Mike Davis. That's your buddy, Mike Davis, South Seattle Emerald. He's going to be joining us tomorrow. And then also Brian Callanan from the Seattle Channel and Seattle News, Views, and Brews. So looking forward to a great show tomorrow. We're up against it, Trey Holiday, 12 o'clock. Any last words before we get out of here?
Oh, like our brilliant and beautiful guest today, Moni and Soulma. Man, see yourself as a part of the solution. Everything that you have been through in your life can be helpful to somebody else. Be a part of the solution.
All right, good stuff. Man, how have I been doing? So we got this microphone right here, and I'm used to almost yelling into the laptop. So I'm like, I sound okay over there. Okay.
Yeah, your level is right on point, bro.
All right. It's taking a lot of restraint, by the way.
I bet.
Man, another great show. I appreciate you, Trey Holiday. Thank you, Salman. Thank you, Soulma. Thank you, Moni. And man, we're going to leave you guys with a little bit of hope here from Shayna Shepherd. And on that note, go forward in your purpose. Go forward in your humanity. And until tomorrow at 11 a.m., peace.
Peace.
What do I see through a lens of fear? 1,000 little steps to go. What do I fear after all these years? Lord knows I don't even know. I've been running on the edge of a sundial, sleeping in the shadow. I've been begging you to see me, then hiding beyond the unreachable. Looking out left on a right-hand turn, just trying to make a deal. A lazy shoes and love is a love that's earned. That's the kind of food that heals. I've been searching for the end of an era, waiting to be ready. The world is bigger than a moment. Be steady, that's how you can feel it's real. But I feel naked. I got you.